Finances can be a huge source of stress, whether it's paying bills, saving for the future, or even just making ends meet. But here's the truth: God doesn't want us to carry that burden alone. He actually calls us to trust Him. Yes, even with our finances. The theme of today's message is trusting God with your finances. Our starting verse is Proverbs 3, verse 5 to 6, which reads, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." Let's dive in. Money is one of the areas where it's hardest to trust God. We often feel like we have to have it all figured out on our own. I know there have been moments in my life where I didn't know how things would work out financially, but then God showed up, once I got to a point of understanding that life is seasonal. There are seasons of overflow, and then there are seasons of dryness. This is when I mastered knowing that this is the nature of God. He provides, but He also asks us to walk by faith and not fear. Trusting God with finances doesn't mean being careless. It means putting Him first and believing He'll take care of the rest. We've got core scriptures that we're going to read and reflect on, and the first one is Matthew 6, verse 31 to 33. It reads like this: "So do not worry, saying, 'What shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear?' But seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." So basically, God is saying, stop stressing over money. Focus on God's kingdom first, and He'll take care of your needs. Worry doesn't add value, but faith does. Philippians 4, verse 19. "And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of His glory in Christ." Notice it says all your needs, not just spiritual needs, but physical and financial too. God's supply isn't limited by our economy. Okay, Proverbs 3, verse 9 to 10 says, "Honor the Lord with your wealth, with your first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine." When we honor God with our finances, through tithing, giving, generosity, He multiplies. Trust isn't only about receiving, it's about releasing. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6 to 8. "Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows generously will also reap generously." Meaning, giving is not about losing, it's about sowing. When you sow into God's kingdom, He ensures you have enough for every good work. Now, let's make this practical. How can we live out this trust? Pray before financial decision. Pray before you make that financial decision. Don't just crunch the numbers. Invite God into your planning. Invite God when you're doing your budgeting. Invite God when your monthly salary comes into your account. Ask God for overflow. Invite God into your every financial decision that you make. Budget as stewardship. Managing money wisely honors God. It's not fear, it's faith in action. Give generously, even when it feels small. Trust God to multiply your seed. Replace worry with worship. When you are tempted to stress, thank God for what He's already provided. Gratitude grows faith. God isn't just concerned about your soul, He cares about your finances, your career, your daily bread. Trusting Him with your money is an act of worship. Now, here's my challenge for this week. Pick one of these verses and meditate on it daily. Pray it over your finances, and if you're facing financial stress, I encourage you to take one small step of faith, whether it's setting aside first fruit or simply journaling your financial prayers. And just trust in the Lord. As Proverbs 3 verse 5 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Trust that God will bring the overflow that you are praying for. Trust that God will bring the provision. Trust that God sees you. Trust that God hears your prayers. and watch him overflow. Most importantly, seek first his kingdom. God already knows what we need. He already knows that you need finances to pay for your rent. He already knows that you need money to get a car. He already knows all of that. The most important thing that God requires from us is just to seek him, seek his kingdom, and everything else will be provided for you.